It's the kind of transformation military analysts dream of and adversaries dread. Australia, long viewed as a dependable, if modest ally in global defense circles, is undergoing a seismic evolution. This isn't just a few new jets or a fleet of flashy submarines. This is a strategic metamorphosis. An island nation is becoming a regional power broker. A Pacific giant is awakening, and it's stretching its muscles like it's getting ready for the military Olympics. From a record-shattering defense budget to cutting-edge missile technology and nuclear-powered submarines, Australia isn't just modernizing, it's militarizing for the 21st century. Quietly, methodically, and with increasing confidence, the Australian Defence Force, ADF, is shaping into one of the most formidable forces in the Indo-Pacific. And it's not just for show. They're building a force that could stand firm against any regional challenger, and maybe even make them think twice. For decades, Australia was the quiet professional of Western militaries, reliable, interoperable, but rarely flashy. It punched above its weight in peacekeeping, contributed decisively in joint operations, and leaned heavily on its alliance with the United States. But the geopolitical tides have turned. You can't surf them anymore. Now you need a battleship. The Indo-Pacific is no longer a tranquil maritime highway. It's a chessboard of rival powers, disputed territories, and nuclear shadow games. With China's naval expansion, North Korea's provocations, and the spectre of cyber and space warfare rising, Australia finds itself in the middle of the most volatile region on Earth. This isn't the backyard barbecue anymore, it's a frontline command post. And Canberra has decided it's not going to be a passive observer. Nope, it's suiting up and entering the arena with purpose, firepower, and the strategic instincts of a kangaroo who knows how to box. More than that, Australia is embracing its identity as a middle power with major influence, investing in force projection and deterrence with long-term vision. Today, Australia ranks 18th in global military power, a position that belies the raw transformation happening under the hood. Unlike some higher-ranked militaries that rest on legacy arsenals, Australia's climb is fueled by modern tech, strategic clarity, and a defence policy that finally matches the threat level. Its strength isn't just about size, it's about synergy. Every element of the ADF is being calibrated for high-end warfare. This includes long-range strike, cyber resilience, and seamless interoperability with Five Eyes and Indo-Pacific partners. This is not your father's Australian military. This is a nation building a layered, lethal defence ecosystem designed for rapid response and heavy consequence. Australia's doctrine is evolving too, shifting from continental defence to active deterrence across multiple domains. With joint command centres, real-time data fusion, and multinational interoperability, it's creating a force that not only fights together, but thinks together. When you hear the term regional power, don't picture an oversized coast guard. Picture a precision machine that can hit you from 1,000 kilometers away, scramble your satellites, and still have time to show up to a humanitarian mission in Papua New Guinea, all while wearing Oakleys and sipping a flat white. The numbers tell a dramatic story. In 2025, Australia's defence budget hit an all-time high, 55.7 billion Australian, or roughly $36.8 billion US dollars. That's 2.02% of GDP, a level not seen since World War II. And this isn't just bookkeeping, this is rearmament with a purpose. The 6.3% year-over-year increase reflects Australia's urgency, with escalating tensions in the South China Sea, growing cyber threats, and an arms race unfolding in the region. The money isn't just being spent, it's being invested. Every dollar is building capacity. Every procurement is sharpening Australia's deterrent edge. What makes this surge even more notable is where the money's going, not just into tanks and missiles, but into digital infrastructure, sovereign manufacturing, cyber defense, and advanced research. It's a holistic investment in long-term military independence. And yes, some of it goes into snazzier uniforms too. Morale matters. Defense ministers' speeches now sound less like bureaucratic updates and more like strategic warnings. This isn't about padding spreadsheets, it's about ensuring Australia is never caught unprepared, no matter who shows up uninvited. Nowhere is this transformation more evident than in the AUKUS Pact. This trilateral alliance with the US and UK is not just a diplomatic nod, it's a full-spectrum military leap. Australia is going nuclear, not with weapons, but with propulsion. The future fleet of nuclear-powered submarines will grant the Royal Australian Navy the range, stealth, and endurance to project power like never before. But AUKUS goes deeper. It includes advanced missile technology, cyber warfare collaboration, AI-enabled battlefield tools, and quantum computing. It's a blueprint for 21st century warfare, and Australia is at the center of it. From real-time satellite sharing to coordinated logistics chains and AI-enhanced wargaming, AUKUS is more than an acronym. It's the foundation for an entirely new military posture in the Indo-Pacific, one that ensures Australia is never alone and never unarmed. Regular joint military exercises with the US, UK, and regional allies such as Japan and India reinforce this strategic pivot. These aren't just drills, they're rehearsals for high-end conflict. From amphibious landings to air-sea battle scenarios, Australia is showing it can play and win in the big leagues. Oh, and these exercises, they're not just tactical, they're a message to any adversary watching from the shadows. Australia isn't just ready, it's already on the field. With a playbook, a partner network, and a playstyle that's less backyard rugby, more high-speed chess, Australia isn't just talking tough, it's arming up. The M1A2 SEP V3 Abrams tanks are coming, bringing with them the most advanced armoured warfare capabilities the ADF has ever seen. Rheinmetall's Boxer combat reconnaissance vehicles are already rolling out, bristling with sensors, armour, and lethal punch. Then there's HIMARS. With a range of over 500 kilometres and rapid deployability, these rocket systems give Australia something it's long lacked: standoff strike capability. And it doesn't stop there. The ADF is pursuing long-range anti-ship missiles, Tomahawk cruise missiles, and even hypersonic platforms under the Joint Hypersonic Strike program. The strategy is clear. If it moves and threatens, it gets targeted. If it hides, it gets found. If it lingers, it gets vaporized. In an era where seconds matter, Australia's firepower is designed to be fast, precise, and merciless. Australia is also building out its battlefield networks. ISR, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance integration, electronic warfare readiness, and redundancy in communications all mean that its firepower is guided by clarity, not guesswork. It's warfighting with a Wi-Fi signal stronger than your office.
Beneath the waves, the Royal Australian Navy is undergoing its most ambitious transformation in decades. The aging Collins-class submarines will be replaced with next-gen nuclear-powered attack submarines under AUKUS,
capable of silent patrols across vast distances, undetectable until it's far too late. New Hunter-class frigates, enhanced offshore patrol vessels, and an expanded fleet of support ships are rounding out a navy designed for sustained blue water operations. Northern naval bases like HIMARS Stirling and Darwin are being fortified into forward deployment hubs, complete with facilities for allied vessels and joint task forces. Australia doesn't just want to protect its own coastline, it wants to dominate the sea lanes that matter most, from the Indian Ocean to the South Pacific. And if that sounds like ambition, well, it is. Because in modern warfare, naval power isn't optional, it's existential. And let's not forget maritime logistics, the lifeblood of sustained operations. Australia is investing in replenishment ships, naval aviation integration, and deep-sea sensor networks. When it says presence, it means persistent, not passing. Behind the hardware lies a digital backbone that's quietly revolutionizing the ADF. Australia is going all in on AI-powered logistics, autonomous drones, cyber warfare platforms, and next-gen sensors. The Guided Weapons and Explosive Ordnance Enterprise, GWEO, is a bold, sovereign missile manufacturing initiative aimed at ensuring Australia never again relies on foreign stockpiles during a crisis. Think of it as the country's entry ticket into the Missile Industrial Club. Quantum computing labs, electronic warfare research hubs, and AI-enabled battlefield command systems are coming online fast. Australia isn't just importing tech, it's inventing its own edge. And while other countries argue over who controls TikTok, Australia is busy wiring its defense network to outthink, outmaneuver, and outlast any threat. Cybersecurity has become as crucial as shipbuilding, and Australia is pouring billions into keeping its systems hardened, its communications secure, and its AI ethical but lethal. In short, it's building a brain to go with the brawn. Because in the Indo-Pacific theatre, the next war won't just be about boots in the ground. It will be about lines of code, bandwidth supremacy, and who can see first and shoot faster. And Australia intends to win that race. On the surface, Australia is a sunburnt country of beaches, deserts, and eucalyptus trees. But in military terms, it's becoming an amphibious juggernaut. The Canberra-class landing helicopter docks, LHDs, are floating fortresses capable of deploying troops, tanks, and helicopters to remote islands or contested shores. Think of them as Swiss Army knives with a flight deck, except this one comes with rotor blades and missile defenses. These ships aren't just for show. Backed by elite amphibious task groups and highly mobile infantry units, Australia now boasts one of the most capable amphibious warfare forces in the Southern Hemisphere. In exercises from the Philippines to Fiji, they've demonstrated rapid deployment, coordinated fire support, and, let's be honest, a flair for making beach landings look like a tactical ballet. If amphibious assaults were scored like gymnastics, Australia would be winning gold. Supporting this, Australia's Special Forces units remain among the best trained on the planet. Commandos and SASR troops are being equipped for multi-domain warfare, from cyber infiltration to hostage rescue to jungle combat. In short, they can drop in from a Black Hawk, hack your systems, neutralize the threat, and vanish into the bush before your radar even boots up. They're the ghost stories enemy officers whisper about. The integration of amphibious readiness with elite special forces means Australia can project force anywhere in its neighbourhood within hours. It's not just about storming beaches anymore. It's about influence, deterrence, and the ability to conduct humanitarian operations just as quickly as combat ones. Let's talk skies. Australia's Air Force doesn't just fly. It dominates with precision, coordination, and an eye for strategic advantage. The fleet of F-35A Lightning II stealth fighters is operational and growing, bringing 5th-gen air superiority to the ADF with sensor fusion, low observability, and a strike range that makes adversaries seriously rethink their options. These F-35s work in tandem with FA-18F Super Hornets and EA-18G Growlers, combining dogfight agility with electronic jamming and suppression capabilities. If you're a radar station in enemy territory, the Growler's coming to ruin your day, quietly and efficiently. But the real crown jewel? The P-8 Poseidon maritime patrol aircraft and NQ-4C Triton drones. These platforms allow Australia to monitor vast ocean expanses, track submarines with surgical precision, and respond to threats before they even consider making landfall. Pair that with the legendary Jindalee operational radar network, and Australia has eyes on skies and seas thousands of kilometers away. Jorn isn't just radar, it's a crystal ball. Need to know if a vessel just left Shanghai? Jorn already pinged it. Wondering if a ballistic missile launched from the Indian Ocean? The RAF logged it, tracked it, and plotted 5 counter-strike options before launch. Not bad for a country where the most aggressive airborne threat used to be a dive-bombing magpie. Modern war isn't just about machines, it's about people, and Australia is investing heavily in its defence personnel. The ADF is actively expanding its force structure, not just in numbers, but in quality, diversity, and resilience. Because in the modern battle space, talent wins wars. Women now serve in every combat role. Indigenous Australians, immigrants, and allied recruits are being integrated into a force that reflects the country it defends. With global recruiting now open to select friendly nations, Australia is effectively creating a multinational force with Aussie accents and a unified mission. Recruitment incentives, housing upgrades, education support, and career advancement programs are being rolled out like confetti. It turns out, defending democracy is even better when you also get dental, advanced training, and a shot at flying a stealth fighter. There's a cultural shift too. No longer is the military career path seen as a fallback. It's becoming a premier choice for Australians who want challenge, purpose, and a front row seat to global events. The ADF is investing in its people like never before, because every submarine, every missile, and every radar tower is only as strong as the crew operating it. Why does all this matter? Because the Indo-Pacific is the cockpit of global competition. It's the new Cold War frontier, except this time it's hot, humid, and saturated with satellite coverage. China is expanding its naval presence, building artificial islands like Lego sets, and testing territorial claims like there's no Geneva Convention. North Korea continues to flex its missile arsenal, throwing rockets into the sea like it's a fireworks competition. Meanwhile, piracy, climate-induced displacement, and cyber attacks make this region a full-time strategic headache. It's less a neighbourhood and more a geopolitical pressure cooker. Australia's military rise is not just about self-defence. It's about regional stability. It's about ensuring the Pacific Islands can say no to coercion, that trade routes stay open, that Taiwan doesn't become the next flashpoint in a war no one wants but everyone fears. And it's also about alliances. The ADF trains shoulder to shoulder with US Marines in Darwin, with Japanese troops in joint maneuvers, and with Southeast Asian partners through strategic exercises like Talisman Sabre and Indo-Pacific Endeavour. These are not symbolic gestures. These are combat-tested, logistics-tuned partnerships that turn intent into power projection. Australia is proving that it's not just reliable, it's essential. It's the keystone in a coalition designed to prevent war by being prepared to win one. So what do we call a nation that went from regional player to power projector in less than a decade? We call it prepared. We call it dangerous to those who threaten peace. We call it Australia 2.0, from amphibious assault to orbital surveillance. From nuclear propulsion to hypersonic deterrence, Australia's military power is no longer quietly competent. It's loud, layered, and lethal. It's a force that doesn't just react, it anticipates. It has reach, it has allies, it has the budget, the brains, and the battle readiness to hold the line in a region teetering on a knife's edge. And perhaps, most importantly, it has the will. So, if you're a bad actor in the Indo-Pacific with ideas of conquest or coercion, here's a friendly tip. Look south, because Australia's watching, and it's locked, loaded, and laser-focused.